Today's dedication is for Terax, who gave me a very generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Hercule versus Zafra with a 1-lander, but we do have a Sol Ring and a Time Twister, so we can keep that if we get desperate to draw any more cards. Obviously we can do that with the wheel. We are on the play, so I'll start off with Sol Ring and we'll go for the Lightning Greaves straight away as well. Might go for a turn 2 Time Twister if we don't draw into a land, because I assume my opponent's kept a hand that he's actually happy with here. Alright, and just goes for a Bayou. And we get into another land, so I will play out the land here into our commander. Lightning Greaves successfully lands on there, so our opponent doesn't have any spot removal apparently, swinging for a couple of points of commander damage. Now seeing a Fiend Artisan from our opponent. Alright, and another land for us, so yeah, we can go for Frogify onto the Fiend Artisan and then still go for the Time Twister. And this means that we will reveal potentially a sorcery and an enchantment off the top of our library at the end of the turn. Play out the Mox Amber so we can reveal an artifact as well. And yeah, we've got some lands that we can discard to hand size. I'll swing in here because our opponent might want to use the Fiend Artisan as a World Sacrifice Edict effect. We could be giving them the Fiend Artisan back with reanimation, but not going to worry about that at this point. Seeing a Sensei's Divining Top and a Torrential Gearhulk. Hullbreaker ended up on top again. We'll just go for the Sensei's Top, I think. And now it's a Reassembling Skeleton. And now seeing a Serum Visions, we are going for the Shark Typhoon most definitely here, I think. And then instead of the Sensei's Top, I'll go Serum Visions. And we get a 1/1 Shark token in the air with that. Drawing into a Teferi's Ageless Insight, there is a Snap Mage and a Propaganda. We can put Propaganda into our hands, so let's go Snap Mage on the bottom, Propaganda on top. We'll draw into the Propaganda with our commander at the end of the turn. And could have put the Lightning Greaves on the Shark Typhoon. I don't think the 1 damage is going to matter. Alright, now seeing obviously the Propaganda, we've got a choice between Personal Tutor and the Preordain. I will go Personal Tutor. And then at the end of the turn we'll just discard an island. Don't have the Thought Vessel down yet for an infinite hand size, but likely do that next turn. Now Savra, Queen of the Golgari, into play. Alright, an island for us off the top, so just drop that straight away, holding on to the shuffle effect for when Sensei's Divining Top comes into play. I think I want to continue to just ramp ahead of my opponent, and Teferi's Ageless Insight makes a good amount of use of our mana. Obviously get a 4/4 Shark out of that as well. So the Sol Ring doing a hell of a lot of work this game. Let's go for an artifact in the Thought Vessel. And then we'll go Personal Tutor, playing a sorcery and putting a sorcery on top of our library. So we can guarantee that we're getting into something with the Hercule. And with that, I think we're fine to go for the Seagate Restoration maybe. And then I'll hold on to the Sensei's Divining Top for next turn so that we can potentially reveal an artifact. I will put haste onto the 4/4 Flying Shark and then swing in at my opponent. And then Hercule triggering at the end of the turn, so we definitely grab the Seagate Restoration. Also have a choice between Ponder and Deep Analysis, a couple of sorceries, so only get to grab 1 card here. But obviously when we cast the Seagate Restoration next turn, we're going to draw twice as many cards. That will be 10 in total thanks to the Teferi's Ageless Insight. And it's Moldavine Reclamation, not going to be destroying too many of their creatures over here, so obviously they're waiting for a sack outlet at this point. Okay, we draw into Triska Decaphile. So going to draw, oh, it's 6 cards doubled up to 12, isn't it, because it's this +1, so yeah, let's go for this first before we even play a land. Get a 7/7 Shark out of the deal as well. And then draw double the cards here, so clearing a bunch of islands off the top. So we could just go for the Imprisoned in the Moon on our opponent. Get a 3/3 Shark out of the deal as well. Get rid of our opponent's commander, and then it is Lightning Greaves onto the 7/7, and we'll swing in with some creatures here. And then our opponent seems to be being a good sport here and playing it through. So they go down to 13, continue to protect our commander, and we pass the turn holding up the Fierce Guardianship at this point. Also have to do the triggers on our commander, so we get a Baral's Expertise. Alright, and there we see a Damnation, so just to make our opponent's day even worse, we'll Go for the Shark Typhoon trigger off the Fierce Guardianship. Everything's just gone perfectly for us this game. And yeah, our opponent scoops, appreciating playing it out, but the Sol Ring really let us go off there. Hurkyl versus Niv Mizzet Reborn now. And yeah, don't have too much mana there. We do have a means of destroying our opponent's commander if they get it out quickly. I like Imprisoned in the Moon for it as well, so maybe can drag the game out further with that. Yeah, it's slow, but I'll try it, seeing as how we just had such a fast game previously. We drew into a Baral's Expertise, so just waiting on a third land at this point. Our opponent's going slow with the tap lands as well. At least we draw into a Thought Vessel, which is better than nothing. I'd rather it was a land. Okay, and there's our land, that's good, so we can get down at the Hercule Master and then hold up the Rapid Hybridization. And now seeing Chromatic Lantern from our opponent, so they definitely have the mana for their Niv Mizzet next turn. And there is more removal in the form of Reality Shift. So I think I'm happy to go for the Imprisoned in the Moon on our opponent's commander next turn, after they've got their commander down, so maybe it's just Deep Analysis and try and keep the lands flowing here. Alright, and there we see an island, and we'll cast the Jeweled Lotus to try and get an artifact off the top. And yeah, so it's between sorcery and artifact that we are hopefully choosing. Okay, so it's Swiftfoot Boots, and then it's between Time Spiral and Bribery. Fairly happy with the cards that are in hand here, so I'll just go with the Bribery. Do have an infinite hand size here thanks to the rock. It's noteworthy that this commander does give you Planeswalkers as well. I had Planeswalkers in the deck for a period, but I just decided to split the deck evenly by about 15 cards each on instant sorceries and enchantments and artifacts. There's about 15 of each. You can look at the deck list via the description below. Now we're seeing a Kasmina going underneath the Chrome Mox, so I'm assuming that it's a Planeswalker deck. There is Karth the Lion, so maybe not too many creatures that we can grab with the Bribery. Our opponent revealing to us a Vraska Relic Seeker, so getting the Swiftfoot Boots on there next turn would be really good. Our opponent does know about the Swiftfoot Boots. Go Rapid Hybridization onto the Karth, doing that at the end of our opponent's turn, so we won't get to reveal an instant with our commander. And now it is a Treachery, so we can steal the commander away with that. Now what I'd like to do here is go for the Baral's Expertise and bounce all of our opponent's permanents here, or the 3 non-land permanents, but we'd be a land shy of equipping the Swiftfoot Boots there, a mana shy of that, so just going to have to go for hard casting the Swiftfoot Boots annoyingly. Do get to hold up the Reality Shift at least. It's not worthy. We could also go for Deep Analysis, but I think I'd rather hold up the instant. So let's just pass the turn at that. Not getting anything off the top there, unfortunately, but we've got a full grip anyway. Urza's Filter now, so dodging casting the Niv Mizzet until their hand is empty, I imagine. Maybe trying to get around counter magic as well. Only 2 cards in hand at this point, and we know one of them is the Vraska. Vraska costing 2 less thanks to the filter, so that coming into play here. I'm making a 2/2 pirate with Menace, so not destroying anything. Not drawing into lands, unfortunately, so I am going to go for the Ponder here, because we're really behind on mana, especially if our opponent blows up a rock. And there is a Relic of Legends, an island. I don't think we're going to cast an artifact here, so yeah, we can just bury that artifact. I'll probably reveal it and put it on the bottom with the Hercule at the end of the turn. So island on top. We will not shuffle because I want to guarantee the land drop here, so we know we've got an island and an artifact on top. Not sure if we can shuffle before the end of the turn. Alright, so I'll go for Baral's Expertise here. We will bounce the... I think just bouncing the artifacts is the best. We can mess with their mana and buy ourselves a turn, because I'm thinking they're just going to recast the artifacts next turn. And then we'll get down Imprisoned in the Moon onto the Vraska, and that comes down for free thanks to Baral's Expertise. It does count as being cast as well. You can cast it without paying the mana cost, so that is a sorcery and an enchantment this turn. Okay, and it was just a negate and a Sol Ring on top, unfortunately, so not getting any card advantage from our commander. Now, I've obviously given them more mana here, but it's noteworthy that this is a colourless land, and Niv Mizzet Reborn really cares about coloured pips, so yeah, we might be able to get away with them casting their commander and then them not having counter magic held up. Okay, so now seeing the Niv Mizzet Reborn, they have 5 cards in hand, revealing to us Ajani Unyielding, Flux Channeler, a land, the Felwar Stone, Ajani Sleeper Agent, Wear and Tear, the Chain Veil, Enlightened Tutor, and Joda the Unifier. We played out the Chrome Mox again, throwing the Ajani Sleeper Agent underneath that. So they go for casting the Wear and Tear to get rid of our Swiftfoot Boots. Can probably shuffle that back into the library at some point. And now the 3-3 swings in towards us. They should probably swing in with the Pirate as well. In fact, can just swing in with just the Pirate, and that's what they decide on. We can't block thanks to Menace. Okay, and there is an Arcane Signet. Our opponent gets rid of the Swiftfoot Boots just in time, because what we could have done here is taking control of the Niv Mizzet Reborn and then put Swiftfoot Boots on it and start swinging in straight away. It will deal commander damage to our opponent. I think we'll go for it anyway here. Yeah, let's go for the Treachery. Gain control of our opponent's commander and then untap the lands, because Treachery untaps the lands for some reason. And then we'll cast an artifact in Arcane Signet, and then we can go for, we've had an enchantment, an artifact, we'll go for a sorcery in Bribery and have a look at our opponent's deck. I used to play Bribery a lot more, and it was always interesting to be able to see your opponent's entire list. So if anyone's interested in this deck list, then there we are, you can pause it there and have a look. Plenty of creatures to choose from here. Got an Atraxa, Joda the Unifier, Nicol Bolas the Ravager, Stolrev as well. I think I'll go for the Joyra here, simply because we've got historic spells in hand in the Saga and the artifact here, so yeah, I think we just passed the turn at that. Alright, getting into one with the Multiverse. A Sensei's Top we can definitely take. Mark of Eviction as well. Means that we can get an enchantment every single turn, but can't pass up on one with the Multiverse here. We are a mana away from going for that, but it is going to be really good if we can manage to land it. Chromatic Lantern back into play, so probably going for the other rock that we threw in. Maybe Ajani comes out here. Nope, going for the Urza's Filter. Alright, and now there is a Personal Tutor. As we saw last turn, we could, or last game, we can put a sorcery on top and definitely draw into it on the same turn. Similar thing with the Sensei's Top. We can play Sensei's Top and then draw a card with it and reveal it off the top of our library again at the end of the turn. And just always have it in hand. Drew into an island, I don't mind it throwing down. So I think we'll just go for Behold the Unspeakable here. Finally get that into play, draws us into another land for next turn, I don't mind. Our opponent's creatures get -2 to their power, so we can better swing in this turn. Then probably just holding up Reality Shift and spinning with Sensei's Top, or could go for Personal Tutor. Yeah, don't mind going for Personal Tutor, we'll swing in first though. And like I said, we are landing commander damage on our opponent here, so they're on a 4-turn clock. Maybe even more than that. If we go for, we could flash back the Bribery and go for the Joda. Got legendary creatures in play, so might be worth doing. And then we can threaten even faster commander damage on our opponent. Go for the Personal Tutor. And probably fine to just go River's Rebuke here, because we're just really trying to force them to not get too many permanents into play and buy time by recasting them over and over again. And see the Seagate Restoration anyway, can't grab that unfortunately. A Preordain as well. Grab the River's Rebuke we just put on top of our library. And now we can spin the top as well if we want to. Decided to do it at the end of my opponent's turn as opposed to tapping this and drawing a card. Okay, Vorinclex Monstrous Raider now. Don't really care about plus counters or anything, but that is a 6/6 trample with haste. And then after that it's Kiora the Crashing Wave. They haven't been able to get the Planeswalkers going as quickly as I'm sure they would have liked to. Then keeping their commander from dealing commander damage to them. And this is at 6 loyalty now, so we're going to have 9/9 Krakens to deal with if we're not careful. Thankfully we do have the River's Rebuke available to us. And then deciding to hold back their creatures. They know that we've got the River's Rebuke, so maybe should have turned in sideways there. Let's spin Sensei's Divining Top. There is a Mark of Eviction, an island and a Mana Crypt, so can go land, Mana Crypt, Mark of Eviction, and I think I will go for the tap on Sensei's Divining Top during our turn, because we'll be able to reveal it after casting the Mana Crypt. So obviously draw into Mana Crypt off the Sensei's Divining Top, cast the Mana Crypt, And of course we draw into it with the Jora. Play an island. Then we definitely want one with the multiverse here. We'll be able to get down the River's Rebuke for free. So revealing that island off the top. Let's go at River's Rebuke without casting or without paying its mana cost. We control the Imprisoned in the Moon, so that doesn't get bounced. It's just the stuff our opponent controls. Then I think we're fine to cast a sorcery. Another one in Deep Analysis. Target ourselves, and our opponent decides to scoop there. That's fair enough. I think we've been pretty commanding this game. We're just going to draw into a couple of islands, then likely reveal the Blue Sun Zenith and draw into that next turn. But anyway, you get the gist of that. You have to think a little bit ahead with Hercule, but once you get your head around how it works, it's a pretty fun deck and pretty potent one if you can consistently get the card advantage from it. Hopefully you all enjoyed this new commander. We'll be seeing spoilers from the new set soon, so thought I would get out another new commander before All Will Be One begins to reveal new cards to us. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.